Afternoon, everyone. Today we are lucky to host Zach Burks. He's the CEO at Mintable. He has a fairly varied background, but right now he's an expert in blockchain as well as in the NFT domain. He used to be in the U.S. Army. He was area manager there, and he was introduced to Rocket by fellow crypto expert Jiawen, who runs both Day One and she helps out at Mintable. Jiawen's coming, I think, early or mid December, right, Kai?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we're
right.
Yeah. So, Zach is representing.
Zach's representing. All right. So we'll start off with Zach has a quick, very short sharing on Mintable and NFTs in general, and we have the pigeonhole as usual. It's in the Bootcamp All chat. So please go and enter your questions there, and then we'll run this the usual way we've been running this for the past few months. You guys know the drill. All right, Zach, over to you.
Hey everyone. Thanks for showing up, and thanks for listening to me talk about NFTs and crypto. I understand quite a few of you, if not all of you, are developers. I am also a developer. So I'll try, normally I don't talk to developers. So I will try to make this a little bit more technical to give you guys some more in-depth understanding of, the nuances of NFTs from a technical standpoint. Let me open up and share my screen. You guys can see my screen?
Yep.
Cool. So we'll talk about all sorts of things: NFTs, Mintable, marketplaces, crypto. So a little bit about myself, my background. My name is Zach Burks, founder of Mintable. As you guys were already told, I was in the military. Before I got in the military, I found crypto. And once I was getting towards the end of my military career, I started to dive more and more into crypto. 2015, I went full-time into crypto as a smart contract developer on Ethereum. Started working with different projects, and I started my own projects. I was doing freelancing, contract work, all sorts of stuff. That was 2015, 2016-ish. Around 2017, NFTs came out, the first iterations, and I discovered these NFTs. The very first one was CryptoPunks. I didn't really understand the value. I didn't get a CryptoPunk. I just said, what's the point of this? Big mistake, right? It's millions of dollars now. And it wasn't until later that year when CryptoKitties came out that I found kind of my understanding and my love for NFTs. I realized how vague of a technology they are. And at that point, I didn't make a conscious decision, but that's all I've done is work on NFTs since then. So if you have interacted with an NFT on the blockchain, you probably interacted with code that I have written. I've created a ton of things for NFTs. I've worked with the Ethereum Foundation. I've worked on creating standards on Ethereum for royalties for NFTs, which is ERC 2981. I created batch minting for NFTs, gasless minting for NFTs, the first DAO that runs up at NFTs, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So most likely you've interacted with code that I've written. Look, a lot of people that are new to NFTs don't understand it, or they think that it's kind of a fad. It's just, a trend is going to disappear. And same with crypto, if they don't really understand crypto, but neither of these are true, right? Blockchain and NFTs are here to stay, right? You have very large celebrities, you have very large brands, you have very large companies and corporations that are diving into crypto and blockchain and NFTs pretty much every day. Right? Just yesterday, Budweiser released some NFTs, right? Visa, MasterCard are working on NFTs. You have banks that are working on NFTs. You have, corporations like Starbucks and, brands that you interact with on a daily basis, Nike, Adidas. All of these are diving into NFTs and exploring NFTs. You have studios like Fox News and CNN who are making $100 million investments into NFT projects like NFT movies or NFT TV shows. So it's not going to disappear. It's only going to get more and more adopted. You're going to see millions and millions of people using NFTs as time goes on. By next year, you'll probably see an NFT in your daily life like once a week. And so with the NFTs, the technology is so powerful that it makes so much sense for whether it's a insurance company or a bank or a brand like Nike to use NFTs in some way, shape, or form. One of the things that these all have in common is that NFTs are traded. Because they're on the blockchain, you can trade these assets, and you need a place to trade those assets, which is a marketplace, which is what Mintable does. But when you look at the traditional experience for crypto, when a new user comes into crypto, if the people listening here, if you've never bought crypto before, you don't own any crypto, your very first experience is almost always going to be an exchange. So you go to Coinbase, you go to Binance, all these other platforms for you to put money in and then buy Bitcoin or Ethereum. These are always your first experiences with crypto. And it's the same for NFTs. If you want to dive into NFTs, your first experience needs to be either an exchange to buy crypto so that you can do what you need to do, or the marketplace if they provide something like gasless minting like Mintable does. And so what this means is that your very first experience for blockchain and NFTs could very well be Mintable, and we need to approach this in a strategic manner so that if my mom were to come on and do something on Mintable, she would understand what she's looking at, right? She doesn't have to know blockchain, she doesn't have to understand crypto. She can use Amazon, she should be able to use Mintable. And that's what we try to do. And so I won't go too much in detail on each one of these slides about why Mintable is awesome. But one of the things we do is constant innovation. So with NFTs, it's a very new field. It was made in 2017. It's only been a few years. It's very nuanced. There's a lot of things that Mintable has done that no one else has done for NFTs. This is partly in my background, like the batch minting, the gasless minting, the DAOs that we've created. But on the other side, it's things like reviews or comments or messaging systems, things that, if you go on Etsy, if you go on eBay, if you go on Amazon, you're like, this is, every platform has comments and messaging. That's normal, but no NFT platform has that, right? So it's not normal for NFTs, and this is what we're trying to do, is to innovate. Another thing is variety. There's millions and millions of NFTs. So just like there's millions of items on Amazon, you need to break that up into a proper, system so that you can say, if I'm looking at art, I only want to see art, and I want to see a specific type of art, then that's what I'm going to see. And that's what we do at Mintable as well. The big thing here is gasless minting and credit card payments. This is the mom test. I brought up my mom earlier. If my mom wants to do something with NFTs, she has to have crypto, or she has to understand blockchain. It's this whole process and headache. My mom can't do it. So we wanted to solve that. So first was gasless minting. Gasless minting allows for my mom to make an NFT. Because you got to understand, when you make your first NFT, or when you make any NFT, you have to submit a transaction on the blockchain. And every time you submit a transaction on the blockchain, this is like when you submit a wire transfer through bank. There's always a fee, right? You always have to pay your bank a little bit of a fee. It's the same for the blockchain. Every time you submit a transaction on the blockchain, there is a fee that you have to pay. And you pay that in crypto, in ETH. So the problem is if my mom, if she wants to come over and make an NFT, she doesn't have ETH. She's never bought ETH. She's never going to, right? She's my mom. She doesn't care about crypto. She doesn't know about it. She doesn't understand it. But we want her to be able to make NFTs. Maybe she's an artist, right? Maybe she's a creator. So how can we do that? Well, we created gasless minting. Gasless minting is this really cool technological innovation that I came up with when I was making a smart contract. And it allows for you to mint an NFT on Ethereum without needing that transaction, which means you don't have to pay a fee. So right now, every single person in this group can go make an NFT on Mintable, because it doesn't matter if you have crypto or not, you can still do it. That's really important. The second thing is buying. That's making an NFT, but now what about buying an NFT? If you don't have crypto, you have to pay crypto to buy it, right? It's denominated in Ethereum. So maybe it's 1 ETH to buy the NFT. Well, if you don't have ETH, you can't do it. So with credit card payment, we allow you to buy any NFT on Ethereum with a credit card. And this is huge, because it means now my mom can come in like Amazon, select the item she wants to buy, put in her credit card info just like Amazon, and then get her NFT. So these are important things for reducing the barriers of entry, reducing the friction, and getting people to actually dive into NFTs. And this is what we've been really focused on. So let's talk about creators and kind of why NFTs are really good for creators. With Mintable, we support literally every file type. So other platforms, you can't do this, but on Mintable, you can make an NFT and then you can attach a PDF. You can attach your code. So let me give you an example. I can actually sell Mintable using Mintable. I can take all the code for Mintable. I can put it into a zip file. I can upload that as an NFT, and I can list that NFT for sale for $1 million or whatever it is. And when you buy that NFT, you'll actually be able to, once you buy it, you verify that you're the owner of that NFT, and only the owner can buy or access that file that you've attached to it. So if you think about it, if we accept every file type, you can do code, music, albums, videos, PDFs, documents, Excel sheets, you name it, right? You can upload it as an NFT. So for a creator, whether you're creating videos on YouTube or you're a musician or you're doing analytics and you're doing kind of data processing that you might have valuable data, all of these things can be used by NFTs in some way, shape, or form to augment or change kind of the business model or revenue streams or engagement methods that you have with your audience by using NFTs. So this is huge that, for example, music. If I buy an NFT that comes with the album, cool. I just, I like that person. I just want to listen to their album. That's awesome, right? I just bought their album. Big deal. I don't need NFTs for that. Here's where the augmentation comes to the existing model. If I just bought that album on iTunes or somewhere else, I get the files. Big deal, right? That's it. I get the music. That's all I want. But if you use an NFT, that artist can now say, hey, if you bought that album, I'm going to give you free access to any one of my concerts by using that NFT as the ticket. Or they can say, hey, send me that NFT back and I will give you a signed t-shirt. Or they can say, if you bought this NFT, I'm going to give you another NFT of my hit single that I'm releasing next year, right? So you have these really unique use cases that you couldn't do before, right? How would you be able to say, if you have my song on your computer, I'm going to give you a signed t-shirt if you send it back? You can't, right? Because I could just copy the file, send you the file, there's nothing, I still keep it. So the NFT allows for you to do something different that you haven't been able to do before. Now, musicians is one example, but there's a lot more that you can do. Look, NFTs literally can be applied to almost anything from insurance to property, artwork, music, whatever. So pretty much if you create content in any form, there's probably a way that you can use the NFTs in a new method to engage or target or improve the interactions that you have with your consumers. Pretty much 99% of any NFT can be utilized in a new way because the core technology of the NFT is so revolutionary. We haven't had it before. And I'll give you an example. Tell me, before blockchain, before NFTs, how would you have sold a file and verified that file that you're selling is the only version of it, or verify that someone who bought that file is the only person who has that on the internet? There literally was no way to do that until we had NFTs in the blockchain. And so this has created a new method for us to interact with those people that are consuming that data or that content. So, and this is connecting with your audience, right? This is, something that I think a lot of people really struggle with, is understanding how flexible you really can be here. And essentially, it's only limited to your creativity. Excuse me. So one of the things that a lot of people will talk about is royalties. Royalties are really important because if I sold a song on iTunes and then I gave that song to my friend, or maybe I resold that song illegally, there's no way for that original creator to get that money that they're deserved. It's very hard for royalties to be paid out. It's time intensive. There's middleman. It requires like legal frameworks and contracts. It's a pain in the ass. But with NFTs, royalties are built in. So every time, at least with ERC 2981 that I created, every time that you make a transaction with an NFT, if I sell you an NFT for $100, if there's a royalty for the creator who made that or the project or whatever, that royalty will be paid out automatically in a trustless manner. So there's no middleman. There's no one that can say, hey, don't give that royalty, right? It's all built in on the blockchain. And so to give you an example, on Mintable, you can go make an NFT. I think we automatically assign you a 10% royalty if you do gasless minting. And so anytime that NFT sells, if you sell it for $100 and I buy it, and then I sell it for $10,000 to someone else, and then they sell it for $1 million to someone else, every one of those transactions, you're going to get your 10% cut. So if it sold for $1 million, if I bought it from you for $100, right? You made $100. Good job. I take it, I sell it for $1 million. I just made $1 million on your item that you sold me for $100. You will get 10% of that, right? So you'll get $100,000 automatically, no questions asked, just right into your wallet. So This is huge because it means that you can actually, if you're an artist or a musician or whatever, you're putting out NFTs. Say you put out 1,000 NFTs this year, right? You're Picasso. You're just pumping out NFTs every single day. You blow up. You become super popular. 10 years later, people are still trading your NFTs. Those 10 years that have gone by, you have continuously gotten royalties on those transactions. And so if your value of NFT has actually gone up a lot, starting from 100 to $1 million, you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars on every transaction just instantly, right? And this is passive income. And this is really powerful for creators. And it really helps out with the royalty issue that is very hard, especially with artwork. There's like almost no royalties with artwork in the traditional art world. And so this is really good for our creators. It supports creators and allows creators to monetize their work and be able to live off of their work. Look, there's really endless possibilities when you're building with NFTs. NFTs can be used for tracking and traceability. They can be used for artwork or music. They can be used as loyalty points. So as a developer, you're really, like I said, limited by your creativity here. And there's a lot of ways that you can utilize NFTs that are super unique that have never been done before. And so from a development standpoint, developing NFTs is actually really easy. You can copy and paste the code for an NFT smart contract and just change the name. And that's it. That's all you need to do, right? Now, if you want to go more advanced and say you want to build in a lottery system or a loot box system or whatever into your NFT, then you're going to have to develop that yourself. You're not going to be able to copy and paste that. But it's not hard. NFTs are pretty easy. And actually, I'll touch on, since most of you guys are developers, I'll touch on how NFTs work, because this is something that most people don't understand on smart contracts and tokens on the blockchain. So when you buy an NFT or any token on the blockchain, a lot of people will assume that they own this. The token has been given to them, it's in their wallet or whatever, but that's not true. What actually happens is when you make anything on the blockchain, you deploy a smart contract. The smart contract is its own code. Think of it as its own file that lives on the blockchain that has code that runs based off of different functions that you call or based off of different actions that are done. In there is a mapping. So a mapping will take two values, store them together. They're unique pairs. So it will have a mapping of an address to a token ID number. This is actually where your NFT is stored, in this single mapping. And what it's doing is it's saying that your address, you, Bob, let's say you're Bob, Bob's address owns token number 1. And then when Bob transfers it to me, it's going to say Zach owns token number 1. And so that happens in the smart contract. And there's thousands and thousands of smart contracts. For every token, every NFT, there's a smart contract. So what actually happens is my wallet doesn't have anything in it. There's nothing inside my wallet. It's actually inside that smart contract. And the balance is just updated. It's just a pointer that says, this token belongs to this address. And if that person wants to transfer that token, they will call that smart contract and say, hey, smart contract, I'm Zach, transfer token number 1 to Bob. And they're going to say, oh, Zach, you don't own token number 1 anymore. You can't do that. Or you do, we just transferred it to Bob, and now Bob's address owns token number 1. Right? So this is how tokens and NFTs work. This is the same for ERC20 tokens. And so there's a lot of interesting things that you can build in with that when you think about NFTs and maybe artwork or insurance or traceability using models like this. And then there's the whole other DeFi aspect, right? You can build DeFi into NFTs as well, where there's financial incentives based off of what you're doing or the game that you're playing. And this is play to earn and GameFi, right? GameFi, which is game finance. It's a bad name, but essentially it just means that you're able to earn money while playing a video game. These are all things that NFTs allow, and these are all things that over the next few years, you're going to really see getting more and more popular. Right now in China, play to earn gaming is really popular. There's a lot of the regulation on crypto. In China, there's a lot of companies that are doing play to earn gamings, and a lot of people are diving into these NFTs because it's kind of this gray area that's not regulated yet within China. And as time goes on, you'll see, next year, Starbucks will probably release an NFT, McDonald's, Burger King, you'll see Nike, Adidas, right? You go into H&M, there's going to be a NFT loyalty card. You go to a sushi restaurant, You're going to get an NFT for whatever, right? You're going to see NFTs almost every day in your daily life in the next coming years. And right now, it is literally the hottest market on the planet. It was just named NFT was the word of the year for some dictionary. And it's the hottest growing market on earth right now. So if you're a developer, I don't know of a better place for you to be spending your time at other than NFTs. There's literally no other market on the planet that is growing at this rate. So if you're a developer, you should be looking at the NFTs and seeing what you can do. Look, you can make a project, release some NFTs, and make $1 million overnight. It'll take you a month to do that, but you just made $1 million. This is something that you don't have commonly appear within everyday life. There's not a lot of opportunities where you can start developing and a month later you made $1 million doing, right? So I highly encourage everyone here to look at Solidity development, which is smart contracts, figure out kind of more about NFTs, how NFTs work, and then work on making an NFT project. Of course, I run Mintable, so if you have any questions, reach out to Mintable. If you're doing a project and you want us to help you, or you want to promote it or anything like that, reach out to Mintable, and we can help you. Of course, this is if your project is coming to fruition. If you haven't started your project or anything like that, then you don't need to reach out to us. But once you're ready and you're actually going to launch something, reach out to us. We would love to help you out, because we've seen people, projects will raise $6 million in 15 minutes. They'll sell out their NFTs. They make $6 million. You think that's great, right? You think, oh, I just made $6 million. How awesome. In 15 minutes, right? That's amazing. Here's the thing. That's nothing, because the next month you will make $30 million in revenue from the transaction fees, right? So you're able to say, I'm going to sell my NFTs for $6 million for all of my NFTs, right? You make 10,000 of them or whatever, and you sell them, you get $6 million. Good job. Now, when you go on Mintable, you go on OpenSea, you go on Rarible, you would set up a fee on your store where you say, okay, all of my NFTs, anytime they trade on Mintable, I want 5% cut. So you get that 5% cut, and you've done $100 million in trading volume over the last month. And if you do that, which there's a ton of projects that do, you'll get 5% of that automatically. So 5% of 100 million is 5 million. So you make another 5 million just from doing nothing. Like literally you do nothing. It's just people trading those NFTs. And 5 million is not very much. If we look at Mechaverse was the one that sold out 6 million in 15 minutes. They actually did over $300 million the following month in volume, and their fee was 5%. So that's $15 million. That's huge. That's huge. And you make $15 million and you're sleeping, right? There's not very many opportunities you get to do that. And the money is yours, right? It's yours. You get it immediately. So super lucrative. You should be looking into NFTs. You should be trying to figure out how you can get involved with NFTs. And I'll give you the next few minutes to ask me questions about how to do that. And I'll try to help you figure that out, get you guys started.
All right. Thanks so much, Zach. Thanks for sharing. Before we jump into everything you've shared about Mintable, the value it adds for creators, why we should get into NFTs, I want to ask a bit more about you. So you were in the army, right? And then now you're here as CEO of Mintable. When did you have that eureka moment? Hey, this exists. My mom really wants to buy an NFT and she can't. Someone needs to solve this problem. Did you have that moment? What was the vision driving you to start Mintable?
Yeah. So look, I've always been a nerd. I've always known like HTML, CSS from when I was like 10 or 11 or 12 or something like that, right? I've never been a good developer. I'll talk to my development team here and I tell them like I'm the worst developer on this team, right? So I'm not a good developer by any means. At least that's my own opinion on myself. Other people will say otherwise. And so in 2018, again, I was only working on NFTs at the time. I made this tool called Mintable to create NFTs without having to know how to code. So right now, if you want to make an NFT, you got to deploy a smart contract. So I was like, most people aren't going to figure out how to do that. They don't know how to do that. I was like, I'll just make a tool to do it for them. They'll just fill out a form and then it will make their smart contract, their NFTs, and they can go do whatever they want with it. So I made that. And then I was like, well, if they don't know how to deploy a smart contract, they probably don't know how to interact with the smart contract. So I need to make a manager to manage their NFTs, to mint NFTs, to transfer their NFTs, whatever, right? Once I was done with that, this was actually, I presented this to get certified as a blockchain developer with Consensus. And after I was done with all that, I got certified and everything. I started Googling. I was like, should I make this public? Like, I wonder if people are going to use this. And at that point, just to remind you, I've been an entrepreneur. I've had multiple business. I had a business at that point. I have multiple businesses now. And I was running multiple businesses back then, starting different stuff, not related to crypto, but I'm just an entrepreneur. So I started looking about Mintable, and I was saying, what are other people doing? Is this worth my time and effort to publish online? And after looking and looking and looking on Google, I couldn't find anyone that was doing anything for what I did. It's like, well, look, it's 2018. This is early on with NFTs, but I realized that I built something that is the first of its kind on the internet. And whenever you build something that is like the very first on the internet, you're kind of like, whoa, wait, that's a really good opportunity, right? I want to obviously capitalize on this opportunity. So I went back and I thought about it, and I was like, okay, how can I turn Mintable into a business? I moved from California to Thailand, and I finished building Mintable, launched it in December, and the rest is pretty much history. So yeah.
Right. So has Mintable passed its own litmus test? Does your mom own an NFT? Has she sold any NFTs?
Yeah. So my mom has made an NFT. It is a picture of me. It is very easy. That's the whole goal. She has not bought an NFT, but she's not. It's not like she's.
But
she
selling is where the money's at, right? So
right. Well, she hasn't made millions of dollars with crypto. Maybe if she makes $1 million in crypto, she'll put 10,000 on an NFT or something like that.
Right.
But she could buy an NFT if she wanted to. She just, I can't convince her to spend $100.
Right.
Yeah, it has passed the litmus test. And look, Mintable has 500,000 users. We get like 150 million page requests a month. We have over 1 million NFTs that have been minted by users on Mintable, and we have like 24 million NFTs on the platform right now. So I actually just think about that for example. There's 23 million NFTs on Ethereum, 23 million 721s on Ethereum that we have. This is probably like 95% of them. There's probably a few ones that we haven't indexed for some reason or whatnot. But there's around 23, maybe 30 million if you add in the rest of the 5% or whatever. NFTs on Ethereum. 1 million of those were made just on Mintable, right? So that tells you that's a huge market share of like the global Ethereum usage of NFTs. I guess 1/25 of that would be from Mintable, and that's pretty good, given that our gasless minting, which is where most of those were made, launched in December. So in a year, we've done 1/25 of all the NFTs on Ethereum through Mintable. So I would say Mintable is pretty user friendly, right? If we're able to do that, and we've obviously grown a lot as a company, as the team. Everything about Mintable has grown: users, traction, the UX, the experience, everything. And one thing to note is like, look, we don't charge for minting. We don't make money from you minting. We actually lose money because we have to run all this infrastructure and stuff. So we lose money when you mint. We're not making money from your minting. We do make money if you sell your NFT, of course. But there's no cost to our users to make this NFT. And when you go to another platform like OpenSea or Rarible, if you want to do it on Ethereum, you got to pay a cost. It's like $50 to $100. And for a lot of people, my mom included, she's not going to spend $100 to try to sell an NFT that she doesn't understand, right? That just doesn't make sense. If you went on eBay, or if you went on Carousel or Lazada, or if you went on Etsy, and they're like, okay, you want to list your t-shirt for sale or your jewelry that you made, cool, but you got to pay us $100 first. You're gonna be like, what? No, it's only a $15 item. Why would I pay $100 to sell a $15 item? So solving that is a really important part of what we did, and I think that this is going back to innovation. When I created gasless minting, it's a code. It's coding that allowed for that to happen. It was a new way of writing this function, and a new way of using code. It was very interesting. It was an idea I just had. It worked, and it's that innovation of thinking of things in a new way that allow for Mintable to be super successful. And so every one of you could be that same situation or scenario where you're new to NFTs. You don't think about it in the same way that I think about it or other people. And so you go, why don't we just do it this way? And then you do it that way and you're like, wow, we just improved NFTs. And this is the beauty of a new industry. Because the technology is so new, your contributions could make a huge impact, right? So you guys should get involved.
I think most of us will. You'll have 1,030,000 more NFTs after today. Right, so we'll jump to the student questions. So if you haven't submitted the question, you feel free to go to the Pigeonhole and make a question. We'll start still with you a bit, not so much the NFTs and Mintable. Shannon has a question. Shannon, feel free to elaborate. He asks, how was the transition like from the military to the crypto space? How long did you take to go from your first hello world to where you are right now? And sure, you proclaim yourself as not the best developer, but I think a lot of us can empathize with that. We may not think very highly about your crypto skills, but surely you must have some skills to get to where you are right now. So how was that transition like after being EOD and artillery in the US Army to where you are right now?
Well, I think EOD really was a shaping event for me. EOD was the best thing ever. And one of the most important things with EOD was EOD's school in the U.S. Army is the hardest school in the U.S. Army, and oftentimes kind of is one of the hardest military schools in the world. It's got a very high failure rate. They'll teach you about a college or a university semester of information a week related to bombs and explosives and stuff like that. So the very first course that you do when you start EOD is a 6-week course on how to learn and how to train your brain and how to utilize your brain to the maximum efficiency that you can. And that was a really, really important course for me and has shaped my life since. I got into crypto in like 2012 hard. But before that, I joined the military in 2011. Before I joined the military, I actually was playing around Bitcoin. I had no idea what it was. I didn't get serious until 2012. So I was already in crypto while I was in the military. And it was the military that made me say, look, I want to be an entrepreneur. I didn't really say I want to be a crypto entrepreneur. In fact, I'll share with you, when I was in the military, I was going to get out of the military and go open up a hydroponic store in Colorado to sell, equipment to grow weed in Colorado. That was one of my business ideas. And I did move to Colorado and I did, open up a few businesses there. Ultimately, not a hydroponic store, but the military made me want to be an entrepreneur, and crypto was just a nerdy part of my life. It wasn't anything I was like, I'm going to be a crypto entrepreneur or anything like that. But as I got more and more into crypto as time went on, obviously I've got a lot of money in crypto. And so as crypto would go up in value and I see my money go up, I'd be like, oh, let me, pay attention to crypto. So like I said, in 2015, I went full-time into crypto, and it's not like what you think where you say, oh, I'm going full-time, I'm going to quit my job kind of thing. It was more like I made so much money that I could drop out of school. And I was like, I'm just going to play around with crypto all day, right? So it wasn't a situation like I'm taking a risk. It was, I've already made a lot of money. I can go live on an island, and take a break and do whatever I want kind of situation. And that was, probably the best decision I ever made was to work full-time into crypto. I love crypto. It's absolutely exciting. It's interesting. It's just crazy. Crypto is by far the coolest, industry to work in. Yeah, it's a whole nother world. You guys, I don't think, look, and I'll be honest with you, I don't think I've ever heard anyone say crypto is ruining their life. You hear these stories about people losing money with crypto. They never blame it on crypto. They never say, oh, Bitcoin ruined my life or Ethereum ruined my life. They say, they lost their money because they don't know how to trade, right? And it's always about trading. No one ever just buys Bitcoin and Ethereum and then complains about it 5 years later. Like, oh man, I made $10 million. God damn it, this is horrible. What is wrong with crypto? No one does that, right? Crypto has changed everyone's life in a very positive manner. And I don't think I've ever seen a situation where someone has really said that crypto has negatively impacted their life. So what that means is like 99% of the people that work in crypto are extremely happy about crypto, about working in crypto. They're very happy with the industry that they're in. Whereas, I'm sure a lot of you guys are in different industries now, whether it's in finance or banking or whatever you're in. And I'm sure you guys are probably like, I don't know if I want to be in this industry my whole life. Like this industry is not the greatest industry, right? So crypto has these advantages, and it's also it's very modern, it's very young. So yeah, I think you're going to get paid more as a crypto developer. You're going to make more money on your own projects, and you're going to have more job opportunities as a crypto developer. There's no reason for you not to be a crypto developer unless you have some moral reason against crypto. If you say, oh, crypto's a scam or whatever, I don't want to participate in that market. And some people do feel that way. They're wrong, but they feel that way. So there's no reason you shouldn't be in it. Your starting salary is going to be higher as soon as you start because you have the blockchain experience, and they're hard to find blockchain developers. You can get a job pretty much anywhere. Every company for blockchain is hiring. And if you do your own thing, you can make millions of dollars like overnight. So you're not going to be able to do that in the banking industry or in the insurance industry or whatever.
Yeah, thanks for that sharing. Shannon, Shannon's also leaving the army. In fact, just left the army. Shannon, does that answer your question?
Yeah, but I think a subsequent question really will segue into what I wanted to cover. Basically, like, because we are all learning in this bootcamp as a software developer, right? And if we want to enter the industry as a blockchain developer, are there any skills or concepts that we need to know as an engineer so that we can level up and compete in that space?
Yeah, I mean, not in the sense of like, no, you don't need to know like cryptography. You don't need to, have calculus 3 under your belt kind of situation. So in that area, no. But there's a whole list of things that you'll learn as you start learning blockchain development that are relevant only to the blockchain that you're working on. So to give you an example with Ethereum, there's certain practices that you do with your code for certain reasons, and you're just always going to do that. Regardless of whatever kind of application you're making, you're going to do the same practices for certain things. To give you an example, sending money. Most applications interact with money, right? There's money being involved. One way, to give you an example of royalties, if you're selling an NFT and the royalty is sent over to the person who created the item, the proper way to do this across any application on the Ethereum blockchain is a pull method instead of a push method. Meaning, I'm just going to give you a quick oversight of this, meaning that you want them to pull their money where they request it instead of you pushing the money to them automatically. Why is that? Because there's a transaction fee. So if I want to send money automatically, I have to pay for that from whoever's sending that transaction. So if you're buying an NFT, you're actually also paying to send to the creator. You don't want to do that, right? You don't want to make this person pay for it. Also, if you're doing like maybe 50 payouts at once, you don't want to try to do 50 at once because you'll run out of gas. You'll essentially, there's not enough computational credits available to you, essentially, right? You have to pay for every step of computation with gas, and there's a limit. So if you have if you do a loop function that adds 2 + 2, you'll run out of gas eventually because it's going to keep doing that forever. But there's a gas limit. So once you hit that gas limit, it just stops all your code, and it says you've hit the limit, you can't go anymore. So you do a pool method because you don't want to hit that limit, and you want each user to have to pay for it themselves. You don't want one person to pay for all 50 people, right? So this is a general practice of how you would architecture your design and stuff for Ethereum. There's a general practices for each different blockchain, right? Each blockchain has their own strengths and weaknesses, and so you'll learn these and understand these. And so it's nothing now that you need to learn. You don't need to go learn cryptography or anything like that. You just need to go learn blockchain development. If you go learn Ethereum blockchain development, you'll pick up all these other things you need to know as time goes on. I can't just give you a list of it. It's stuff that you learn, after years of development kind of thing, right? But you will learn it eventually.
Right. You kind of touched on the next question that Justin was going to ask, which is one of the most important things or topics that software engineers need to understand or learn when they want to enter the blockchain. And like you said, there's not like a exhaustive list of things you can go and learn and then immediately apply. So maybe to rephrase this question a bit, if Mintable is hiring a software engineer, above and on top of all the software engineering stuff that you're looking for, what would you look for someone who wants to come and work at Mintable in the blockchain space?
That's a good question. So we don't require that you have blockchain experience. To be honest, so I hire all of our developers. I have the final say. And one of the things I look for is, are you better than me? All of our developers have to be better than me as a developer for me to hire them. And I don't care, not blockchain. not blockchain. No one is a better blockchain developer than me here. But if I ask them to build a React component or to build something on our back end, they're much better than I am, right? And that's what we look for. I can teach them blockchain. You can learn blockchain. Blockchain is easy to learn. It's really easy. It's, I mean, compared to some of the complexities of doing a full stack development, blockchain's a piece of cake. So we can teach that. That's not that important. Now, if you come to me, we have a few developers. Actually, one developer just started today, who's a blockchain developer. He's got experience in DeFi. And all this does is allows for me to say, okay, cool, I trust you. I don't need to teach you anything about blockchain. Go solve this blockchain bug that we have. And, you know, I understand, I know that you're going to understand this. So there's, if we're interviewing someone and they have blockchain experience, I'm going to immediately ask them, okay, what did you make? And if they have a project they made and it's live, that's great. I'll look at it, I'll see what they've done. I'm like, okay, this person knows what they're doing, or I'll say, oh, okay, you know, they're still junior, but they have more knowledge than someone who doesn't have any knowledge. So look, as I said, there's a lot of people that are hiring blockchain developers, and you're going to get paid quite well. Actually, they don't even care if you're a good blockchain developer, as long as you've got some experience. If you go make some rock paper scissors apps and go make some very basic apps, you know, like a to-do list or things like this on the blockchain, make a smart contract. That's, you know, if you make a front end to interact with the rock paper scissors game and it's all done via smart contract, that's actually pretty good. And that's a good start. That gives you a base understanding. Like, I'm not going to tell you to go make a whole financial platform and come up with the math and formula and all the derivatives and stuff for it. But I will trust that you are able to do some very basic things, and you'll learn the more advanced stuff as time goes on. So you really just got to just play around a little bit, get a few projects on your GitHub, and you know, I think it's really important to do hackathons. That's how I got started. So you should do hackathons and look for blockchain hackathons. That will help you have a project. You can do 2 hackathons. You'll have 2 different projects, and you can start applying for jobs. Really, you know, you may not get a $250,000 salary with 2 projects, but you will get more than whatever salary you would get in any other institution.
Right. I think that's very comforting to hear for a lot of people here. Plus, probably some project ideas. You mentioned that working with different blockchains require different sets of very context-specific knowledge. Samantha has a question on how F 2.0 or the recent Solana developments will change how Mintable builds on the blockchain, if it will at all.
How will the recent Solana developments change how Mintable builds? Was that the question?
Is that the question, Sam?
Yeah, so I think like as you mentioned, like you've been building on Ethereum for a long time, and no one really knows what's going to happen when like as they're improving like ETH 2.0. But there's like a lot of, you know, discussions around like proof of history being like way faster than proof of stake, and if that's at all going is something that you're like exploring to be like ahead of, you know, other, like as you're building like smart contracts for your customers to be more future proof.
Yeah, so we support Zilliqa and Ethereum right now. We will support XRP, Ripple later when they release NFTs. We're working with them to build that now. We don't have any plans for Solana, Binance Smart Chain, or anything like that. We have plans for layer 2s on Ethereum, so Polygon and Immutable X. But Solana, not at the moment. It takes a lot of time. Mintable's large, it's huge. It takes a lot of time to build out something for a new chain. There's a lot of complexities that go into it. It's and also the user experience isn't easy. Let's give you an example. You know, Sam, you put your mom on Mintable, and she goes there, and the first pop-up says, do you want Ethereum, Solana, Zilliqa, Polygon, or Immutable X? Do you think she's going to understand that? You know, she's probably not going to have a wallet for Polygon or a wallet for Immutable X or a wallet for Solana or XRP, right? So we want to make the user experience as easy as possible for my mom. And if I immediately show my mom 25 wallets to connect or 5 different blockchains to choose, That's not good. When she goes to Amazon, Amazon doesn't say, pick your country. There's 100 countries here. Which country? It just knows you're in America or you're in Singapore or you're in China, whatever, right? It'll automatically do that. So this is how we look at supporting different chains. Is it needs to be a very easy user experience. And it's also really time intensive. So if we had a development team of 100 people, yeah, we probably have Solana out next week, right? Because we get it all done in a quick manner. But we only have a development team of like 14 right now. Well, actually 17 because we had 3 start today. But so it takes a lot of time to do a lot of stuff. So currently we don't have any plans for Solana. Look, I've also been in the space for a long time, and every 3 to 6 months, there's a new Ethereum killer that pops up that gets really popular. Just this year, the cycle went from Polygon, Binance Smart Chain, to Solana. What was the other one? What was after Binance Smart Chain? What was the other platform everyone was using? I can't remember right now. But the point is you get these smart contract chains. Avalanche. Avalanche is being, Avalanche, Tezos. Anyways, you can go look back through this year and look at the hype that Tezos had with the NFT marketplace on Tezos. Did really well, right? It did like $60 million in volume, I think. And now there's like no traction on Tezos. They come, everyone goes on Tezos, they use it a little bit, and then they disappear. It's the same for Binance Smart Chain. It's the same for Polygon. You'll see this massive spike. A lot of people are using it. A lot of projects appear, and then it just dies off. And then they go to the next one, which would be Avalanche, and then that dies down. And then they go to Solana, and then that dies down. And then they go. So that's happened for years. It's years since 2018 we've had this happen. And so just because Solana is hot right now, it doesn't mean we're going to stop everything and go work on Solana. If we did that, we would never launch anything because we would go from Solana to Binance to Polygon to all these different chains. So when one does serious volume compared to Ethereum, we will support that chain. So Ethereum's done like 10 or 11 billion dollars in NFT volume. If Solana or Tezos or whatever did, 2 billion or 5 billion dollars in NFT volume, and it had millions of users on it, then yeah, we'll build on it. So it just depends on really the user traction.
Right. You were sharing about how different smart chain contracts differ and not all of them have the same volume as ETH. Samantha has another question, which is not just smart chain contracts, but the NFT marketplace themselves. How does Mintable differentiate themselves from OpenSea? Why use a marketplace if all artists can create websites to showcase their work and sell their NFTs directly? And you did mention earlier about how Mintable has some features that a lot of other NFT platforms don't have, like instant messaging and stuff like that. But in general, how does Mintable differentiate themselves from OpenSea?
Yeah, so there's quite a few ways actually that we're different. And what I'll do is I think this will have to be the last question. I do need to go, but let me share my screen real quick. And let me kind of walk through a little bit of things. So this is Mintable. One thing on how we're different. Let's start with the product side and the buying side of things. So let's look at what's this Sandbox. Let's go to Bored Apes. So we're looking at Bored Apes now. On OpenSea, you can look at Bored Apes as well, but automatically you'll notice this thing is common. So we have this new rarity algorithm that we created, and it's an improved rarity algorithm. And what this means is you can see these are all common. If I go, my Zoom thing is in the way, hold on. If I go and I sort rarity high to low, this is going to show me the rarest Bored Apes there are. And what you're seeing right here are the rarest Bored Apes. These are worth millions of dollars, right? And so if we look at, let's just look at this one. Let's just look at any random Bored Ape. You can see that this page, what you're looking at here, and then go look at what you see on OpenSea is very different. This looks a little bit more familiar. This looks a little bit more friendly. My mom, if she comes on here, she's going to be able to understand. And now let me present some information to you as a buyer. You don't know the price of this Bored Ape. If I ask every one of you, what is a quote of the price for this? You're probably all, I told you it was in the millions, so you might get close, but you probably would have all been very far off. And this is the same for any NFT. Unless you know a Bored Ape specifically, you can't give a price to this. So we want to solve that problem. If I ask my mom, what is the value of this NFT? She's gonna be like, I don't know, $5, $10, right? It's like $4 million, but she doesn't know that. So why? And this is something with OpenSea as well. they have a floor pricing, but it doesn't tell you what this individual NFT should be priced at. And so let's look at some few things here. First off, we show this is a holy grail. This is the top 99%. So this means that literally it's the top 1%. You add all of these attributes together, you're able to calculate this using geometrical analysis. And this tells you that this is like the top of the top. So it should be the most expensive, right? Out of all the NFTs, if this is in that top 1%, it should be one of the most expensive ones. So that gives you some idea right there. And we'll save that information. We'll go look at some other stuff. We can look at the transactional value. We can see it was sold for $310,000 3 months ago. 3 months ago, $310,000. Now, a few million. And so you can automatically see, wow, I went for $310,000. I know it's in that ballpark. It's not $5, it's not 50 million. It's around this ballpark range, right? But this was 3 months ago. So now we can look at the analytics and we can see all the sales, all the transactions over the last, whatever time period you want. So let's look at the last 7 days. What is the price of an average Bored Ape, which would probably be common, over the last 7 days? It is 41.1 ETH. 41.1 ETH. ETH is about 47.20 right now. That is $193,000. So the average price is $193,000 US for a common NFT. But wait, this is a holy grail. This is the rarest of the rare. So it's not going to be $200,000. So you can see now we're able to come up with a way to understand the pricing. And if I were to ask you all now, what would you offer on this NFT? You're all going to say above $200,000 because that's, it should be above that price. You're not able to find any of this information on OpenSea. You're not going to be able to have charts. You're not going to be able to see the number of cells. Like, did you know that this is the largest NFT project by volume? And on the 29th of November, there was only 30 cells. 30 cells made up, in 7 days, you can think, let's see, what is this? 8, 15, 15. So maybe 150 cells in the week. And this is how much money they've done in that week. What is 5391 times 4,720? That is $254 million from 100 transactions, 150 transactions. That's insane. Tells you it's a really small market. The point is this data is not available on OpenSea. Do you want to see the transaction history or the top sellers? Again, not available on OpenSea. This top sellers is really cool. This person has made 17,000 Ethereum from selling Bored Apes. This person has made that is no way. That's that's over $500 million. No way. 17,400 Ethereum times 4,720. A person has made
82 million. Yeah.
82 million. Sorry, 82 million. So I was wrong. I guess it was 25 million, not 200.
That's still pretty decent. 82 million.
82 million is a lot of money, man.
Yeah.
And they made it all from selling these NFTs, right? So you can see all this data. This information you can't find on OpenSea. And then if I want to contact this seller, if I want to leave them a message, if I want to leave a comment that says, hey, accept my offer, I can do that. They'll get an email. They can be notified. This is one thing from the buying side. I can also purchase a credit card. So if I wanted to buy this with a credit card, I could. It's not for sale, so I can't. I can only make an offer. But ultimately, yeah. And then from the creator side, there's a ton of flexibility with creating. Again, you don't have to pay money. If you go on OpenSea, you have to pay money to mint. If you want an Ethereum, you can go use Polygon and you don't have to pay, but it's on Polygon. And if you want to upload a 2 GB private file, you can't do that on OpenSea. There's a lot of stuff that make us different than OpenSea, and there's a lot of reasons why we have 500,000 users is because there's a lot of value add there. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, I think I'll run into some credit card limit problems if I try to buy at a Bored Ape Club on
they will.
Mintable. Yeah,
very few people have a $500,000 credit card.
Yeah, I don't.
So technically, actually, to be honest, I kind of lied. There is a weekly credit card limit of like 20 grand, so you won't be able to buy a Bored Ape.
Right.
But
but it's there. The option's there.
Yeah. How many people are spending 20 grand on their credit card though? Really? Not very many.
Yeah. I know you have to leave soon, so to be mindful of time, we'll wrap up with just 2 final questions. Since you were talking about Bored Ape, Tristan had a question about what's driving this growth. So you mentioned, 8 million, 4 million, $400,000, $200,000 average price. But if they're really being sold for so much money, is it, one really slow burn, pump and dump? I mean, probably isn't.
No,
what are we missing?
There's only 10,000 of them. And that sounds like a lot, but if you have 1 million people and you have Jay-Z and Snoop Dogg and all these millionaire celebrities, they want to get involved, Bored Ape's one of the largest ones, and there's only 10,000 of them. And you know, if I have a Bored Ape that I know is rare, why would I sell it to you for 50 grand? I can sell it to you for 500 grand, right? So this is really, you know, Jay-Z will come to you and say, hey, I want to buy your NFT. If Jay-Z comes to you and says you want to buy your NFT, you're probably going to charge him a lot more than the price is, right? It's Jay-Z, right? He can pay for it. So you know, most people are going to take advantage of that and say, well, I could probably sell for 200,000, but because you're Jay-Z, I'll give it to you for 350,000, right? And then they do that sell. It was on Sotheby's, Christie's. It's very popular. There's a lot of people that want one, and there's just a limited supply, so the price goes up.
And earlier you mentioned about how if NFTs are tied to physical products like albums or concert tickets that can augment that user experience, you can invite it to, like, you know, get a signed T-shirt or go for a party. If I'm not wrong, Bored Ape has that as well, right? If you own a Bored Ape NFT, you are part of a special club. I think maybe a special Discord channel. You go for I think it's Bored Ape Yacht Club, so you go for yacht parties. So there's this element of high, you know, social living kind of part of just owning the NFT, not just owning some sort of image. Am I wrong on this? There's a community aspect that I think a lot of people sort of undervalue, right?
Community is the number one aspect for all NFTs. If you don't have a community, your NFT is worthless.
Okay.
By default, you have to have a community to value your NFT. Bored Ape has a great community. There's a lot of benefits. You know, at the conference in New York for the NFT conference, they rented a yacht that held 2,000 people. There was a huge party boat, and the only people that can go there is if you had a Bored Ape, right? And so, you know, think about it. Actually, I bought a Mutant Ape, which is another. It's like there's Mutant Apes and there's Bored Apes. Mutant Apes are the cheap ones. I don't have a Bored Ape, and I wanted to go to this party. I had to have a Bored Ape or a Mutant Ape, so I bought a Mutant Ape. It was 25 grand. I bought a $25,000 ticket to go to a party. And I didn't even go. I never showed up. But the point is like you have this community aspect and this kind of like VIP aspect of, oh, only, you know, Bored Ape holders can go on this awesome party. And so that party that I bought that $25,000 ticket for, they had the Strokes, they had Aziz Ansari, Chris Rock. They had all these A-lister celebrities there, like doing comedy or doing music and stuff like that. So I mean, it's not like a shitty party. It's pretty cool, and it's this club. That's what it is. It's the club, and this is the community. If you have this community aspect, then, you know, look at what they've done. They do, you know, $800 million a month in sales. So yeah.
Yeah, if I'm not wrong, especially if you're interested in the NFT space, I mean, if you get into this club, you probably get, you know, all the latest news, the next big thing, or whatever. So that's because one of my friends are in this club, so he tells me about what kind of news, what kind of stuff they talk about, and things they share. All right, just one last question. I'm going to wrap two of Justin's questions together, which is about country and governance and how that interferes with NFT. So you talked about how the Equinox CEOs believes that Singapore is at the cusp of being the crypto capital of Asia. You're here, Matrix Pod is here, Vitalik himself is here. And at the same time, there are crackdowns and regulations in countries like India and China. So in general, how do you view Singapore in the large global scheme of things when it comes to crypto? And how do you think crackdowns in other parts of the world, like big markets like India and China, is going to affect NFT mass adoption?
Singapore is a blockchain capital of Asia. There's a few blockchain capitals in the world. You have Switzerland for Europe. You have Singapore for Asia. And you really don't have anything in America. So it's already at that point. There's regulation, there's policy. Every global blockchain company has an office or headquarters in Singapore, pretty much. So yeah, it's probably going to continue doing that. Singapore is very progressive with their regulation. So in terms of how crypto bans in India or China are going to impact NFT adoption, can't really say. I don't think it really, I mean, India is a different case than China. It doesn't really matter if China bans crypto or NFTs. They've done it a million times. People in China are still using NFTs and crypto in some way, shape, or form. But ultimately, China is not a large NFT area. The largest NFT area is North America, Canada, and America. And then, you know, Western European countries. And then you get into, give you an example. Singapore is 1% of our traffic. So 1% of our traffic comes from Singapore, which it's not that bad because it's only like 5 or 6 million people here. But it's very small. So Asia is very small for NFTs. In terms of their regulations around crypto, I don't think it's going to be a big impact. I think there's going to be regulations around NFTs coming the next year or 2 years. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But with that, I do need to go, guys. I have a meeting at 1. Thank you all for your time. I appreciate you listening to what I had to say. And I hope in the future, I will be interacting with you guys as blockchain developers or people in the blockchain ecosystem.
Thank you very much, Zach. It's also Mintable's 3rd birthday, so happy birthday, Mintable.
Thank you.
Thank you, Zach.
Thanks for spending your time with us.
Thank you.